Woo. Hi everybody, this is Phil Chenevert and I'm using my clip-on mic now. I want to thank you for watching this. This is for the Ollie people who was scheduled to take my class, and for anybody else, but on word origins, and unfortunately I have a problem at home. I have to stay home. I can't leave at that time. So I can record on this and put it on YouTube and you can watch it. So today when we talk about word origins, the words we use every day come from, well, they're symbolic, but they have long histories. I made an earlier one where we went back about 5,000 years. This time we're only going to go back about 1,100 years. Picture the year 900 to maybe 1000 AD. That's about 1,000 years ago. Serfs, kings, and things like that were common in England and in everywhere. But what we're talking about here is England. Okay, people were people, just like they are now. They rejoiced, they ate, they sang, they got sick, they got married, and they had children. Well, in the year 1020, I think it was 1020 in England, a family had a little girl, very beautiful girl, whom they were looking forward, and they called her Godgifu. Godgifu. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce. Godgifu. And it means a gift of God, because this was a very religious time, and these people were devout. So she grew up to be a lovely young lady, and she grew into her marriageable age, but she thought about going into become a nun, because she wanted to pray and to serve God in that way. But about that time, the Duke of Leofric Mercica, Duke Leofric was a very powerful duke. He was the Earl of a little town called Coventry, and he was one of the most powerful dukes in England at that time. And so she thought about it, and she said, well, I could pray in the convent, but I could also pray as a married woman. Yeah, okay. So she said yes. He asked her to marry him, and she did. And they had a happy marriage. All accounts, they were fine. They were very religious people. They founded a Benedictine monastery. They gave them some land near Coventry. But unfortunately, at this time, there was war. The Danes were invading, and the king asked the earls and all of his the people under him to donate money, troops, to equip the troops. All of this took a lot of money, so he had to tax his people rather heavily, and it grew more and more heavily, and it became quite burdensome, especially to the people in Coventry, because that's a town, and they can't, not like people who live on farms, they can usually find a way to feed themselves. I'm looking at my eyebrows. They look weird. That's okay. So she went to her husband. She said, Leofric, please don't tax these people so heavily. They can barely make it, especially the towns. And he said, nope, I need the money. The war is going on. It's sad. I've got to tax them. Sorry, I know times are tough all over, blah, blah. You can imagine what he said. But she'd go back, and she was persistent, and he was stubborn. Nope, ain't going to do it. But she would go back again and again and again. And you can imagine a husband can get frustrated. I guess a wife can get frustrated too, but a husband can get frustrated and say, stop asking me. And so finally he gave an answer that would be ridiculous, like when my prize pig grows wings and flies around the city 3 times and lands here at my feet and asks to be served for dinner, then I will relieve the taxes on the town or on my people. But he didn't say that. He said something even more ridiculous, because he knew that she was a very modest woman, and he said, okay, Godgifu, if you will ride through the middle of town nude on the back of a horse on market day, that's when all the people are here, If you will do that, then I will reduce the taxes. And you knowing full well that she'd never do something like that. Ha ha, little did he know. Lady, Godgifu, which means God's gift, but it also was changed later into Lady Godiva. The English language changes. She determined she was going to do it, and she did it. And she arranged with some knights. They went through the town. They said next market day, which would probably be next Friday, everybody is going to stay inside. Nobody's going to peek. Nobody's going to peek. Close your shutters. Stay inside from the hour of noon to 1, or at least whenever the sun is straight up and down. And so they went through, and everybody agreed to because they loved her. Well. She did it. She took off her robes. She sat on that horse with only her long hair to clothe her body as best it could. And she rode through town accompanied by 2 of her knights. And everybody did it. They stayed inside. Well, almost everybody. Yes, I know what you're thinking. One person peeked. He was called Tom the tailor, that was his name, and he looked through, he wanted to get an eyeful of what his lady looked like. And, of course, the legend goes he was struck blind. So this was a tale told, passed down for year after year, century after century, all the way from that time to the 16th century, when, what is it? I think it was... Oh yeah, in the 16th century, people started talking about this, and they started using the phrase "a peeping Tom," at least that's the first we could find out what it was used, to mean someone who looks at someone when they don't want to be looked at. A peeping Tom who creeps through the bushes. I don't have to worry about peeping Toms. But anyway, that is where our phrase "peeping Tom" comes from. Think about it, that it goes back 1,000 years now. We still use the phrase, and it's still a very active part of our language. You know instantly what I talk about when I say that. And that's where that word comes from. Let's see if there's anything. Nope, that's about it. Thank you. This is Phil. I'm going to come back with some more wonderful word origins.